We assume the builders of Stonehenge were not killed, but moved on, or were absorbed locally, or in yet other locations they moved and migrated to. We assume and claim that their builders, and those in charge of reconnaissance and logistics in general, and probably especially their builders of Stonehenge, were amongst the few that were spared. Groups that would resist for certain would not be spared, with perhaps the exception of women, at least for as long the migrants could not bring enough women of their own cradles or locations from the Americas with them on the ships. We assume that the migrants had clear reasons to leave the Americas. We assume that depletion of resources for their industries and agriculture would have been the main reason. We already know that they had capacities to build all kinds of carts with wheels, pushed by horses and/or other animals, and seaworthy and navigable ships, able to transport animals, including horses, as well as parts of carts, chariots, warfare and plows. All these would also involve metals, and most probably their metallurgic and other industries in the Americas and later in the invaded continents, were fueled by massive deforestation, negatively affecting the local climates, and possibly global climate, since they did the same on a continental scale and over at least 2 continents, including the Americas and Western Eurasia. Their practices were since long unsustainable, and even more so during invasions and population turnover events, contrary to the ancient and even modern practices by their first ancestors, indicated by all relevant ancestral markers, in for example the Amazon forest. We claim that the so-called Younger-Dryas boundary is the demarcation or boundary of the extinction or reach of their unsustainable practices. We claim that the so-called Younger-Dryas black mats are for the most part the slacks of their blast furnaces, with which they were able to produce all kinds of metals and relatively advanced alloys. This would of course produce a lot of waste that some of our scientists confuse with the rest of one or more supposed by very improbable meteor impacts. We claim it to be slacks from the metallurgic and other industries, because a meteorite impact cannot selectively impact those places where humans and their activities are concentrated and be so spread over long periods of time. The reason for their migration also could have been pressure from their probably ambitious commands, or the promise of a bright future. We claim that several megalithic sites like Stonehenge also include one or more lighthouses, and that there are many more lighthouses dotted along the Atlantic Facade of Europe and other continents as well. We claim that Carnac on the Atlantic Facade of France also includes a lighthouse, but more importantly functioned also as a port, where the arriving ships and eventual fleets landed and docked. We claim that Carnac in France also executed significant port handlings, which encompassed all activities related to the loading, unloading, and movement and storage of cargo, passengers, animals, and other goods at its extended port. Possibly the enigmatic rows of megalithic stones were involved in these as well as in yet other functions, but maybe also in unloading and handling of whales that were caught during the crossings, with the whales dead floating or floated bodies towed behind the ships, and also after hunting sessions departing from Carnac itself or from elsewhere on the Atlantic Facade. Detailed depictions of whales, whale hunting, as well as of the involved ships, even including the crews, depicted on the megalithic stones and megalithic monuments themselves, confirm all the above. Videos and series about Neolithic or earlier whale hunting, and the many dedicated and organized depictions can also be found in this channel. Evidence suggests humans hunted whales for thousands of years, with the above-mentioned early depictions, but also remains found in various locations like including in Korea and also in Scotland. We associate depictions and remains found in Korea and yet other confirmations of what is claimed above, but also of the Austronesian expansion much earlier, and also departing from the Americas. These arriving migrants are extreme mobile pastoralists, but they can't get further than the steppe. The corded Ware Group and later the Beaker Group literally rise from the Atlantic Ocean and land on the Atlantic Facades of Europe, and next proceed eastwards through the forested regions, as much as possible through or aside rivers, until they finally meet with the steppe pastoralists, which they know of, or heard about already from their commands, this since the Americas where they lived side by side. While these extreme mobile pastoralists proceed, they turn over, in other words replace, 90 to 95% of the former population. As said, this is similar to what happened with or in the rest of the world, including Asia and Africa, but that involves yet other ocean routes, amongst others, at least one route across the Pacific Ocean, that is, or is similar to the Austronesian expansion. But all this is the object of other series, with at least one series in the playlist this video is in.